Mm.
It's not the normal thing to come on to uh, a a
Yeah,
convention
like
online
a
and
convention
just
and
go
stuff.
to and
Hey
say,
guys,
hey,
what do you think
what
of
do you think
this?
of this name for my business and all that?
Hello and welcome to the Intergalactic Business Podcast, where we share innovative solutions for more profit in your pocket. I'm Liz, your accountant at Intergalactic Business Solutions. If you're into business, travel, accounting, bookkeeping, as well as sci-fi, festival, and movies, this podcast is for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's absolutely free to do so, and you'll be helping the channel to grow. Now let's dive into the cosmic and get this conversation started. Today, I am absolutely delighted to announce I'll have an extra special guest of honor for the entire show. Some of you may know her as Ace from Doctor Who, but everyone, please give it up for the legendary Sophie Aldred.
Woohoo! Hey!
Hey,
Hi, Liz.
Sophie!
Hello, everybody.
Welcome. So good to see you.
Thank you. You too. Right, the other side of the world that you
Yes,
are.
exactly. How are you and how's everything in your area of the universe?
Well, it's great. For me,
Yeah,
it's summer. For you, it's winter. Isn't it's just incredible, isn't it? It's crazy how we can do this.
I
You talk about
know, I know.
intergalactic. I mean, it's great. It's lovely and warm here today. It's we've had a sort of summer at last because it's been quite cold. I love the sun and I love the heat. So for me, this is absolutely perfect. And I'm
I
not
wish I
looking
could
for
say the same.
yeah.
10 degrees here in Australia.
Oh, that's nothing to us. We until you've gone minus, you don't know you've lived. Well, no, I don't. I'm quite a cold, chilly person anyway.
Yeah,
Um, so I like my hot water bottles and I like my heat. So
yes.
this is perfect for me.
I
Mm.
do like my hot water bottles
I
too.
think I ideally I'd like to live here for half of the year, then I'll come to you for the other half of the year. I think that would work.
Well, we will be absolutely delighted to have you over here too. So you're more than welcome to do that.
Thanks.
No, that would be absolutely lovely.
Mm.
But yeah, the weather is just an insane concept, I think, anywhere over the world that you are. So,
Well, sadly, I mean, let's talk about, climate is it's a thing now, the climate crisis, isn't it? And
yeah,
I think the more we can do to mitigate that
absolutely.
personally, the better. And I sort of joke about, oh, bring on global warming, but not really. It's
I know what you mean.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it can be a bit difficult.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember one time when we were talking, you were telling me that like obviously you're an actor and presenter and author and an absolute legend at all of it, by the way.
Oh, thank
Um,
you. Thank you very much. Very kind of
well,
you to say so.
well, it's truth. It is absolute truth. But I remember you telling me that you thought of it in a different perspective. So can you tell me a little bit more about that? You saw it as a business of some
Yeah,
kind.
well, it's funny, isn't it? Because thinking back a long way when I was at university, there were plenty of people at university who were very good actors. And in fact, there were plenty who were kind of better than me.
Hmm.
And when we finished, it was an academic degree mainly, but we did lots of plays, and I really, really wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
For some reason, when I came out of university, I sort of thought, right, I have got to stick my business hat on, not as
Mm.
magnificent as your business hat, obviously, but I need to really think about myself as a sort of like a commodity in a way, because
Yeah.
I'm selling myself. I'm
Yeah.
I'm creating, this was way before brands and everything like that, but
Sure. Yeah.
you would nowadays say, I am creating a brand, and how am I going to do things a little bit differently from everyone else?
Mm,
And
yeah.
what do I need to do in order to get to this certain place? So, for
Yeah.
example, the very first thing that I thought was, well, I need to get an equity card. And in those days, you couldn't work unless you had an equity card. British
Okay.
Actors Equity, the union to which
Right.
all actors used to have to belong in order to get work,
Mm,
um, professional work, because it was a sort of protection for wages and so on. So I thought, okay, how am I going to get my equity card? Because you can't get an equity card without working, and you can't
yeah.
work without an equity card. So it was this kind of
Yeah.
catch
It's a catch
22.
22. Yes.
Yeah. So the first thing I did was I thought, right, okay, I worked out how people got them. And one of the ways that I could see was that through the variety method,
Yeah.
which was, people singing clubs or
Okay.
clowning or
Yeah.
circus performers and so on.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, what if I have my own little show? I go round clubs around Manchester, offer my
Yeah.
services, and they write me contracts.
Oh,
And then
I
I think
see.
you had to have 6 contracts or something, and then you
Okay.
submitted them, and then they'd give you an equity card. So I was kind of thinking in that, okay, what's needed, what's required, and I think that that's kind of the business head that I mean.
Yeah.
I'd
You're
also
really
been
working on building
always,
your network
yeah,
and
that's it.
creating a point of difference.
Yes.
Mm.
And then, so that's what I did, and I did that, and I got my equity card, and then I went back down to London because I'd been living in Manchester, where I went to university, the
Mhm.
north of England. And then I thought, okay, what now? And again, I thought, right, I've got to do these things a little bit differently from other people to sort of stick out a bit. So what
Mm.
shall I do? And I did, in those days, no internet, no nothing, no computers, no nothing. It was literally
How do we
letters and
manage?
phone calls. Yeah, exactly. How did we manage? So I thought, okay, you got your CV. I printed my CV off on different coloured paper. In fact, I printed it off on different coloured card,
Yeah.
and I folded it a sort of 3-way, like a gatefold thing.
That's
I
cool.
got my headshot printed out small like this.
Yeah.
I stuck it on the front, and I don't know whether you had, it was sort of transfers that you rubbed over with
Yeah.
with a
Oh,
pencil
yeah. Yeah.
in my name. So it was
That's
like a
cool.
typeface because I didn't have any means of
Yeah.
typing or anything. So it was all done like that. But I designed a really different looking CV. And so that
Okay.
it would sort of stick out of a pile of other
Yeah.
people's CVs.
Yeah. Well, people would just look through all these papers and be like, okay, general, general, general. Oh, what's that? Have a look. Okay. This is Sophie Aldred. Who is she? Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Nice. I like your
And I
thinking.
can see that with you as well, because what you're doing, I can see, is
Yeah.
you are appealing to a certain
Yeah.
kind of
Like a,
community.
yeah. Yeah. Well, my
Hmm.
target audience, they are the pop culture and sci-fi community, like particularly with steampunk and obviously Doctor Who as well. So,
Yes.
and it, yeah, before like I have been dubbed actually the account with personality because I stand out so much. And like normally people would not expect an accountant to turn up at networking meetings wearing a steampunk hat. That's exactly what I do. And I love
Yeah,
it.
and it gets you noticed.
Yeah.
And I think, it comes from you as well. It's your passion. So it's
Mm.
completely authentic. But I think it's great because you're appealing to uh,
Yeah.
a certain branch of the market, and
Yeah.
people know very quickly. they can gauge you very quickly at what type of person you are,
Yeah.
whether it's going to work for them. Same with me. I think it was
Mm.
it was a question of, I mean, it's funny because you sort of see, don't you? You see people on telly, people
Yeah.
theatres and so on. You don't think that behind them and underneath that are the people who kind of underpin us, which
Mm.
is like, my accountant, my,
Yeah.
in the old days, my bank manager, the people
Yeah.
that
There.
I don't have a PA myself, but I know people who have a PA. Those
Yeah.
people who are publicity manager, things like that. But an accountant is absolutely essential because
Yeah.
as soon as you start earning a certain amount of money, you have to be a business and be
Yeah.
declare yourself and
Yeah. This
pay
is right.
tax, do all that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as we see, you get into trouble. So I
Mm.
think I was lucky early on. My first accountant was recommended to me by a guy I was going out with, and he was great. He
Yeah.
was used to actors, and I think
Oh, cool.
that's quite a thing, because I don't know what it's like in Australia, but in Britain we have certain, it's a category kind of all of its own. You're
Okay.
on a thing called Schedule D for your tax, which is
Right.
it means that you're self-employed, but you're not a company, and you can claim your expenses, certain
Yeah, we
expenses.
have similar things in Australia.
Yeah,
They can be defined as a sole trader. I mean, there's a few different kind of structures, but a sole trader would be where you're working under an Australian business number, ABN, but you're not technically a company. You don't have that same structure. So you are, I guess, licensed effectively to send out an invoice to someone instead of receiving a wage from an employer. So there's slight differences. Similar, I think the tax brackets are quite similar to as if you were receiving a wage, but the legal structure is slightly different. It can get a
yes.
little bit complicated, but it's all good
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. And there are entertainment lawyers, entertainment accountants, and so on.
Mm.
And I'm sure there are in Australia as well.
Oh, yeah.
I find it really interesting. Yes, I am a sole trader, and my name is Sophie Aldred, but also
Yeah.
because my married name, my all my kind of banking stuff and most of my things is in
Yeah.
my married name, Sophie
Yeah, then
Henderson.
that's fair.
Then you have
Yeah.
to sort that out as well. And
Yeah.
then, of course,
That would be good fun.
we have national insurance as well over here. Do you have that?
Yeah, we've got a whole lot of different sorts of insurances as well.
Yes.
Do you mean like
So
health
we
insurance or a
pay
different kind of
national
insurance?
insurance. You
Okay.
pay if you work for a company, then
Yeah.
that automatically gets deducted at source.
Ah,
But
yes.
and that goes into your state pension pot for way in
Okay.
the future. And so when my husband, who's 66 now, he's been,
Yeah.
because he's a sole trader as well, he's a Schedule D, he's a street
Nice.
performer. And
Oh,
it was
wow.
great because when I met him,
Mm.
um, well, gosh, it's 30 years ago I met him.
30
When I met
years.
him, I'm not sure.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. I'm not
That's
sure whether
awesome.
he'd actually bothered about paying tax or anything like that before then, or because he didn't really earn enough, because
Oh, yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
he had made under his personal allowance. So,
Yeah.
but
We have
when
a
I met
tax-free
him,
threshold.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when I met him, he'd just started getting into TV and doing
Yeah.
TV presenting, and I said, right, we need to go, and you need to get an accountant, and you need to come and see my financial advisor as well. And
Yeah.
there's him. It was all totally alien to him, this
He'd be like, what
conversation.
is going on?
Yeah, what to do with his money. And so, we sorted him out. We got him registered. We got him, he's been putting a bit of money into private pension as well all these years. And he was, or whatever age he was, and
Yeah.
he was thinking, this is just so weird that I'm thinking about 30 years ahead. But actually, last February,
Mm.
he reached the age of 66 and he got his state pension. So now, because he's been paying in the money all that
Yeah,
time. So he calls it his pirate money.
that's perfect.
And it's
And
good, isn't it?
actually,
And
yeah,
now it's like a treat,
absolutely.
for him,
Yeah.
it's obviously for many people, it's an essential thing to
Well,
do because it's
I mean, it
it's the
is.
way they live.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I mean,
I
it's like it's your money, like you're entitled to it and everything. So
yes,
it's awesome to have it. The
yes,
Australian equivalent of the pension is called superannuation. So
right,
that's what we would put into our accounts, each year or each it depends on how it goes with the employer, because if you're a business yourself, then you are responsible for putting out your own super. Whereas if you're working for an employer, they are responsible for
yes,
putting the money into your super. So
that's right. Yes, it's the same
it's
system. Yeah,
okay, nice.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. So
It's
we've got a sort of like at the end of every year we pay a certain amount
yeah,
in our
yeah,
through our accountants
yeah,
actually.
we do the same thing as well. And actually, right now, like at the time of recording, we're at the end of our financial year. So
Ah,
everyone,
what date
it
is your financial year
it
then?
finishes on June 30. So it's
Okay.
just around the corner now. So everyone goes insane at this time of year,
Yes,
trying to get everything worked out so that we can just roll over into the following year and be okay. It's
that's
yeah,
funny because for some
yeah.
bizarre reason in the UK it's the 4th of April.
4th of April.
Don't ask me why. The year end is the 4th of April. There must be some reason.
Okay.
And it's not even 6 months behind or ahead of you.
Yeah.
So
So April
um
4th.
yeah, April the 4th.
Okay.
And it's funny because in sort of um uh February February, March, like you're
Yeah.
saying, all the accountants just going completely mad, saying, please, can we have your records in? Please, can you send your things that we've been telling you to send for the last 6 months?
Oh, I know. I get that quite a bit. I'm just like, okay, I need to send out reminders now and be like, okay,
Yeah,
clients, please send in your stuff, etc., etc.
yes.
But funny you say that, because April 4th, it's that not the same date for us, but our fringe benefit year starts on April 1 through to March 31. So that's if you were to receive a company car or an entertainment card from an employer. Those
Oh,
things are known as fringe benefits. So
oh, really?
yeah,
And they
so
all
we
have to
have
be sorted out in that
yeah,
time period.
yeah. So
Oh, interesting.
it
Well, I don't
does.
know if we have the same over here because, of course, I've never worked for anyone except for myself, so I don't know.
But well, it sounds like both systems are really interesting though. So it's
Yeah,
but
it's
yeah.
funny, isn't it? And as going back to your original question, I think that's what I
Mm,
realized that I actually had to develop. It's all very well having talent, looking right for certain jobs,
mm,
working hard on getting auditions and an agent and all that, but you also have to sort out your business head and your
yes.
finance and kind of work out what people are looking for in a way.
Yes. Yeah. I do find that myself as well. And
Yeah.
I've had to do that quite a bit last year. That was when I was finishing university, because initially I was only going to go into accounting and I was going to leave tax aside. That turned out to be completely the wrong decision. All of my marketing research, every single question that I got from people, or 95% of the questions, was something to do with tax. It told me that this is an area to specialize in. So that's where I was going to get the most clients, and that where I was going to be able to provide the most value. So it became a
Oh,
no-brainer in the end. Just be
that's
like,
so
okay,
interesting.
we'll provide these services then. So that's what I do
Yes.
now. Well, that's one of the things that I
Great.
do now. So,
Yes, and
uh,
that's really good, Liz, because
mm,
the flexibility that you're showing
absolutely. Yeah.
is great because there's no point, is there, banging on one way and actually, oh, whoops,
Yeah.
that's where the work is, you know?
Yeah. I was like, oh, hang on. Yeah, okay. I probably should do that.
Yeah, yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, it turned out to be a really good decision. So I'm glad that I did the research.
Yes.
That was good. And
Yeah.
that brings me to another question as well,
Okay.
because you yourself, Sophie Aldred, you are a huge part of Intergalactic Business Solutions since you helped name it. What I was going to ask you is what do you remember about the beginning of Intergalactic? Because I think it's been around nearly 4 years now. So
It's amazing. Yeah.
I
So,
know,
well,
I can't believe
we
it.
were on a podcast, weren't we? I think,
Yeah,
I mean, on a Zoom call rather than not a
that's
podcast,
right.
Zoom call.
Yeah, yeah.
And
What was
I
which
think
organization?
yeah, you were talking about your business
Yeah,
and I think, as far as I remember, and you were trying to choose between a couple of
that's
names,
right.
weren't you?
Yeah, I had
So,
Intergalactic
yeah,
and I had one or two other names,
that's
I
right.
think.
And then you
Yeah,
said, could I also find out what Sylvester thought as
that's
well? And I
right.
said, "Hmm."
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and we just thought, I think Intergalactic is great because it's
Yeah.
really expansive. It's
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
and it also describes what your interest is as well, with
Yeah.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
Um, and it's fun
Yep.
and intergalactic. It rolls off the tongue as well.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like intergalactic.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I remember.
Yeah.
How did you think? How did you start? What was your kind of spark that started you off? Oh, I'm going to have a business like this.
Yeah. Um, for me, I started like I had originally business has always been something I've really wanted to get into and something I really wasn't sure what age I would be when I did get into it. 'Cause I did start with the 9 to 5 jobs in corporate and that sort of thing. And it never really clicked for me. I thought, like, this is okay, but it's not great. It's not quite where I want to be. And then I was actually working in corporate, I think at the time or just before Intergalactic started, because that was during the COVID years. Because I remember that's when all the conventions went online. And I was just like, you know what? I'd lost my job in corporate at the time, but I thought, well, could take this as a downer kind of thing, or I could really make something out of it and go into entrepreneurship. So I thought, well, because of that, I would really like to actually take the plunge and start my own business in this. And at the time, I had been working in accounting and bookkeeping and those sorts of things. But I also knew that I liked tutoring as well. That was one of the things that I did. So I remember this started as intergalactic tutoring. And yeah,
Oh,
and now it's kind of encompassing everything together. So I've been thinking about these different names, and intergalactic kept sticking in my head. Um, and then I was just like, then I saw that all these conventions were going online because I didn't know that until about the middle of the year. And then I found this, and was it was it Spearhead? Was that the
I think
convention
it
that
was
we met at?
Spearhead.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was it.
yeah. So I found out about that, and that you and Sylvester were going to be there, and I was just like, well, this is just pun intended, ace. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go here because I am having trouble deciding on what name I want to use. So I really want to ask you guys what you think and take it from there. I'm thinking, hey, if we can find a really cool name out of this, that'd be great. So thought, yep, I'm going to go in. I'm going to just, be like, hi, and be like, okay, so what do you guys think? Does Intergalactic sound good? Should we use something different? Because I think the other name was Cosmic,
Yes.
and yeah, and that's actually in my vision statement now for the whole
Mm.
business. And well, it's also in the introduction to these podcasts now. Let's dive into the cosmic and get this conversation started. So yeah, once we chose Intergalactic, so I remember we had a watch along just after it. Like, do you remember that?
Yes, I do. It's coming back to me now. Yes.
Yeah. So we had a watch along that was Remembrance of the Daleks, I think. So that was a good one. And then right after that, I went and registered Intergalactic. So that was pretty awesome. And honestly, it's just grown from there. So it started off as tutoring for the first 18 months. And then I thought, I really want to be bringing more skills to this. I had a small market, but I thought, yeah, it's good, but it's more of a side thing, the tutoring. So I really wanted to bring more business and bookkeeping into it. And I was still doing my degree at the time. So I started as the bookkeeping. So that started in February of 2022. And I'd already done the qualification in that. And then my degree in accounting, that finished in October last year. So now I'm just bringing everything together and moving it forward. And it's insane. But actually, that's where I've got the letters attached to my name. So the AIPA IFA, that stands for an associate member of the Institute of Public Accountants and the Institute of Financial Accountants in the UK. So it means that,
Oh,
yeah. So that's why I've got qualified accountant next to it. That goes in my email signature as well. So
I didn't realize that. That's amazing. It's incredible though, Liz, because what I see with you is that you've had a plan and you said about your vision and everything and
yeah,
you're thinking, you've thought ahead, and then
yeah,
you've sort of gone, okay, what's needed then for me to achieve that, you know?
yeah.
Um,
I'm a very
and
forward
that's such a
thinker.
good way of that's such a good way of planning anything, isn't it? As well
Yeah.
as intergalactic, though, I also like the way you've got solutions in the
Oh,
title.
yes. Hang on, which way am I going? That way.
There we go.
Because yeah,
Solutions,
I've got
because everybody wants solutions.
yeah,
You know, people think, she's got the
yeah,
answers, she's got the solutions,
yeah,
and so I think that's a very good part of the name as well.
absolutely. And I
Mm.
really like one of my passions, and I've done this before with clients as well. The tagline to Intergalactic Business Solutions is building innovative strategies for more profit in your pockets. So that's the whole concept of it. It's like, okay, what can we do to think outside the box, to be innovative, to really come up with something fun and cool and maybe quirky? I mean, quirky is part of my personality anyway, but something to really stand out from the crowd and make the business shine. So that's
Yes,
always something that I'm looking for. So
that is great.
absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really, really great. And
Oh,
um, I want to ask you a bit about
yeah.
the recent Comic-Con and how you got to go there, and what that
Yeah.
was like for you to go somewhere where, I mean, I have never seen an accountant at a Comic-Con. How
That's what a
did
lot of
how did
people
it
said
go
too.
down? And yeah, it was
Yeah,
such a good idea.
that was crazy. Because like I know the events manager now. I'm connected to him. It started off with me going, well, this is something that I would really like to sponsor. This is my target audience, the sci-fi and pop culture community. So I really want to be part of that because I've done other sponsorships before. That was the Wimmera Steampunk Festival in April of last year. So April 23, 23. And now I thought, well, I mean, this business is expanding internationally. As you know, like the UK is one of the countries we're expanding to. I thought, well, I really want to make Intergalactic Business Solutions known nationally. So I can certainly provide services to anyone in Australia. Like location is not an issue because most of my services are virtual. So, well, what can I really do to become visible, to stand out to people and to stand out to the right audience? And Oz Comic Con was right there in my mind. So I just sent them an email and asked if they were interested in a sponsorship. They were. We got on a Zoom call. We organized things, and I sent them the banner that's available on my social feeds. So it's like Liz Carroll, the accountant for pop culture and sci-fi businesses and fellow enthusiasts. And that comes with a free checklist available on my website. So that's for businesses to ensure that they're ready to actually go into business or to be in business, and also a free tax checklist. So very valuable information. But yeah, I remember I went to Adelaide as well. So that was a little while ago. And also to Melbourne, thinking about going to the other ones, depending on how the schedule goes. But yeah, it was really insane to be at these places because I remember I met a lot of people. I made a lot of connections and film organisations as well who were very interested in having me come along to open days and connect with more people. And also there was an interview with the Dalek. That was fun. That was really cool. And then there was quite a few sort of, I don't know if I'm not doing this one justice. It was like a crafting and robotics and I think it was called Makerspace. But it was really about um, designing the extraordinary in whatever way you can. So they were a really cool organization to interview as well. So
Mm.
yeah, it was quite fascinating to be there. And a lot of people said, I don't think any other accountant would be here like this.
Yes,
So that was
it's
fantastic.
such a good idea, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
because as I say, everybody needs an accountant.
Yep. You do. Here's a cool one.
And there's a cool one right there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I absolutely loved it. And I even wrote a few notes as well. Like there was a community space at the Melbourne one, and there was quite a few people hanging around there. I don't know how many people were actually really taking notice of the banner or not, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to say hi to a few people and that sort of thing, which I did, and struck up a few conversations. But then I just left a note on these drawing pads, like, hi from Liz at Intergalactic Business Solutions, happy convention, smiley face and kiss, and just left it like that. But I just want to just leave little hello kind of notes,
Yeah.
like, this is me. So
That's great.
yeah,
Get
it
your
was a
name out
really,
there.
yeah, it was a
Mm.
really fun experience. So
Mm.
I really enjoyed it because, I mean, and you yourself, you would be at a lot of conventions as well. I mean, you are. So
Yes,
how do you
yes. I
find
mean,
them?
it's a wonderful way, I think, to experience what what a difference we've made. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing actually to be at a convention and to meet everybody and to have people say
Mm,
tell us their stories,
yeah.
which is very moving a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And this word gets overused, and then everybody says it gets overused, but it is a privilege to meet the people who've been watching you since they were little, and
Absolutely.
they think of
Yeah.
their childhood, or they watched it with their grandparents or something like that. It's really lovely.
Yeah. I think I've been a fan of Ace for nearly 20 years now. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, just like this girl is amazing. Very often I would ask myself, like, if I'm dealing with a difficult situation or something, I'd be like, what would Ace do? Yeah, how would she solve this? And
Yeah.
yeah,
A lot of
just
people say that actually. And I just
Do
think,
they?
wow, that's great that this character has played a part in so many people's lives. It's great.
Yeah. So I have to show this. Do you
Oh,
recognize
yes.
these? Yes.
Yes, I do. Off my jacket, off
Yeah.
my suit.
Yeah. I think I've got just one's the top one's Doctor Who. Then you got the blue lightning bolt and the motorbike. I think that was Tales in the TARDIS. Tales of the
That
TARDIS.
was, yes.
Then console room. So
Oh,
that's right down the
okay.
bottom. But yeah,
Great stuff. Yeah.
love those badges.
Yeah. Wonderful.
That's awesome. But I
Mm.
have to ask you as well. So this was the same question that I asked a few interviewees at the OzCons about innovation. So what does innovation mean to you, and how would you use it to overcome a complex situation, do you
Well,
think?
innovation to me means something new,
Yeah.
something you can bring in. Actually, do you know, I haven't
Mm,
done this. I am going to look it up in the dictionary because I always think
fair enough.
when there's a word innovation, um,
Mm,
it's
I was
always
nearly
good
doing
to
that earlier
start
too.
it with the, let's see. Yeah, there we go. Uh, Innovation, a new idea, method, or
Mm,
device. Novelty, the
mhm.
introduction of something new. And then,
Nice.
yeah, it says, what does innovation mean in a person? Oh, it comes from the Latin novus, which means new.
Like,
Um, if you're an innovative, like it comes from the same root as nova, novel,
wow.
and novice.
I did not
So
know that.
something, yeah, there we go. Something innovative renews or alters the way something has been done. You can use innovation to describe the thing or the person that made it. And
Wow.
then oh, here we go. What does innovation mean in the workplace? The introduction and implementation of new ideas, processes, products, or services that improve the overall efficiency, productivity, or culture of an organization. It involves thinking creatively and thinking outside the box to solve problems or meet challenges. That's so funny because I immediately think
Nice.
of what you've been up to with that. Thinking outside the box, overcoming challenges to
Yeah,
reach solutions. You know,
pretty
that's your
much.
there you
It,
are. That describes it.
it's pretty much the underpinning essence of it, really, isn't it?
It
Like
is, yeah.
Intergalactic Business Solutions. That's what we do. It's all about
Yeah.
innovations.
Yeah.
That's
And it's funny with innovation because yeah, in innovation. So you're bringing something into existence in a way that
yeah.
wasn't there before. So I'm thinking, you know, when you had the idea,
Mm,
it's almost like it must have come from some kind of inspiration. That's what innovation means to me.
yeah.
Something outside the box, as it says there, um, that hasn't really been thought of in this way before.
Yeah.
And I guess it requires a sort of certain elastic thinking as well,
Yeah.
uh,
I think
which
so.
actually I didn't used to be. Well, I suppose I've been good at it because I was thinking outside the box, as I was
Oh,
saying earlier,
very.
when I was doing the different, you know, how can I be different?
Mm,
Um, it
you've done that
also
brilliantly.
takes, you can have all the innovation in the world, can't you? But
Yeah.
if you don't take the action, then it's
Yeah.
meaningless.
Yeah.
So I think
I like
innovation plus action, because
yes.
you know you could
Then it
sit
becomes
there
a
have
goal.
great ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you actually have to and the innovation could be the ideas for the actions that you're going to take as well, couldn't it?
Yeah. That is one thing I like doing, and something that I also go through with clients. And they're like, what is their business goal? It's like, okay, like we can have A and B, but that's great. Like we can get to B, but we do need to break it down into little steps. Like what do we need to do to ensure that we will actually get to B? So that's, yeah, I guess that's about kind of, it reminds me of that saying, which I've actually been thinking a lot of the last few days, like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, because there's no other way to do it. So it's like, what do? You just break things down into bite-sized chunks so you can just put them all together. And eventually, over a time frame, ideally over a time frame, you will get to the goal to be. And then suddenly you've got this really innovative solution. So
Yes,
it's
that's
pretty cool
great.
like that. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah. And I
I'm
really,
working on a project at the moment as part of one of the self-development things I do.
yeah.
And the way we're being trained to think of to come up with projects and be effective really is
Yeah.
to like you're standing here right in the present, but then like an archer with a bow,
Nice.
to
Yes.
imagine, that arrow has landed at some fixed point in the future so that you know where
Yeah.
you're headed. And then you create the intention, what do I want to have
Mm,
accomplished by this certain time?
love
And
that.
then you work backwards, so like if at this certain point in time, where would I need to be
Mm,
to reach that end point?
yes.
And then, sort of working the other way around. I
Yes.
think they call it the Merlin Principle. That's it.
Okay.
And it's
Yes.
because, the wizard Merlin.
Yes. Yes. Of course.
Merlin,
Yes.
there's a wonderful book, which I must read again, actually, called The Once and Future King. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I haven't, but
Oh,
it
I can
sounds
really
awesome.
recommend it.
I
Yeah.
will read it.
Called The Once and Future King by T.H. White. And it's about
Okay.
Merlin and King Arthur. And
Nice.
Merlin meets King Arthur. He takes him home for dinner, and there are two places laid. And
Yeah.
Arthur says to him, "Who's the other place for?" And Merlin says, "It's for you." And he said, "But how did you
Okay.
know you were going to meet me?" And he said, "Because I planned it. I
Ah,
planned it in the future." And
go
that's
Merlin.
he's working backwards to achieve
Nice.
the goal that he
Yeah, that,
sets out to achieve. It's good.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you
But
can look it up on it's
yeah, I
called
will.
the Merlin Principle. There's a few things about it
Okay.
online.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I've not heard of it before, but it's like I know the what you're talking about, but
Mm.
yeah, the Merlin Principle, that sounds awesome. It actually reminds me of one of your Doctor Who stories, Battlefield. So
Yes,
that was
yes.
very much featuring Merlin and King Arthur. So
Yeah, and you see, I think Doctor Who thinks that way
mm,
because, Doctor Who is always landing somewhere and the companion goes, "Oh, this is nice," or "Oh, why are we here?" But actually, the Doctor always
yep,
has a plan in the future, sort of
yep,
a solution, if you like, and then
yeah,
he or she has to sort it out,
yeah,
from yeah,
yeah. There's always the underlying innovation and solution to different problems. So
yes, exactly,
mm,
yes, and
it's
Battlefield would, because he knows full well that he's come there to
yeah,
sort this issue out, and that he's going to meet Morgaine and all that,
yes, yes.
and there is this kind of hint that he might be Merlin. Mm,
Yeah, that was always a very interesting hint. Like, are you actually Merlin? Or is this just a cover-up kind of thing? So
yes,
it was always
or
very
is it
much a
like a
mystery.
sort of parallel universe
Yeah, yeah,
timeline type thing? Yeah.
absolutely. But oh, it's forever one of my favorite stories. So
Yeah, it's a great one. Mm.
it's nice. But yeah, well, honestly, Sophie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute honor and so insightful to have you here. I guess to honor.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure, Liz. And it's been such a pleasure for me to see you go from, well, 4 years ago now, to
Yeah,
when you had this spark of an idea, and you but you knew where you were heading, and you knew what you had to do. I really like that.
Yeah.
And that you dared to come on to, because it's not the normal thing to come on to a
Yeah,
convention
like
online
a
and
convention
just
and
go
stuff.
and
Hey
say, hey,
guys, what do you think of
what do you
this?
think of this name for my business and all that? And
It did
so,
take a bit of guts, but
I think that's another thing I was
yeah,
thinking about, actually, is that there are certain risks involved, aren't there, in any
yeah,
new enterprise?
yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, and so getting yourself out there and risking failure is
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah,
But it's like, is it failure or is it a first attempt at learning? That's kind of how I like to look at it. I'm just like,
yeah,
yeah, because much of business is a matter of trial and error and just learning what works, what doesn't, and making adjustments as you go. And I find like nothing's going to be a straight line. It just, can you be willing to take the challenge and see how it goes, go with what works, ditch what doesn't, and simply just keep moving along, making tweaks until something finally sticks and does work. That's
yes.
something I really like about it. It's like, no, it's a first attempt at learning. Just got to figure out exactly what will work.
It's
So
so funny, isn't it? Because when we're little, we don't care about whether we succeed at something or not.
yeah,
When you watch very small children, and they'll be painting something, and it'll just be like a real
yeah,
expression of in the moment. Or even when babies learn to walk for the first time,
yeah,
how many times do they fall down and get up again and fall down
a
and get
lot.
up again? But then somewhere along the line, we make it mean, oh, I'm not going to try that again because that didn't work or whatever. But as you
Mm,
say, everything is a good opportunity to learn
yeah,
something. Yeah.
yeah. It's just like, okay, like this has happened. That's fine. You've learned something from that. Just try it again. You'll get a little bit closer. It's like just
Yeah.
embrace how far you did get and then just try it again and get a little bit further and a bit further and just keep working on that until you reach the destination. And
Yes.
yeah, that's why I try and take through with myself and with my clients, with everyone I meet. Really, it's just like, yeah, just what you need to do to get from A to B.
Yes.
Just it's just making me think of the line from Finding Nemo, like just keep swimming. So
Oh, I love that. Just keep swimming.
yeah,
That's
I
great.
just thought of that then. It's like
So cool.
it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you just keep plodding away.
well, I really acknowledge you, Liz, for
Oh,
for
thank you,
doing
so
this, and also for making the difference that you're making for
thank you.
people that you've been tutoring, and that because you
Mm,
bring your
yeah,
personality and your
yeah.
positivity and your sunniness to
Thank
this.
you.
And I think it must really make a difference to your clients. Mm.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I'd hope that it does because that's certainly the intention of it all. So
Mm.
just like to make a really positive difference to people. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you do.
I love it.
It's so lovely.
No, awesome. And yeah, actually, one of my I learned to speak. One of my punchlines is also remember everyone. Only thing stopping you reaching the stars is yourself and not having a good accountant. I love that.
I love that. That is very
Absolutely
good.
love that. Because
Mm.
yeah, much of the time, like, it can be self barrier that stops you reaching the stars. So it's like just get past that personal, whatever it may be. So I can just keep striving. And then you just need the good accountant. So
Yes.
that's where I come in.
That's so important, because what you're pointing to there is we can't we think we can do things on our own, and we think we're alone, and we think
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? But
Mm,
actually, people want to help other people, mostly, I would say.
yeah.
People love helping.
Yeah.
People love to be in a team and to
Mm,
yes, there are sometimes, difficult personalities, but
Yeah.
don't be afraid to ask for help. That would be one of my big tips
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. Yeah. Anyone.
And if something's going wrong, or if something, just don't be afraid you got to be able to not be proud and not look good, and just say, help, I'm really struggling here. Can you help me with so-and-so?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I relate to that as well. Because I mean, a lot of the time when I'm going into a networking meeting or any kind of meeting, very often I am wearing this hat as a point of difference. I have certainly had a few sideways looks. I'm just
Yes.
just like, hey, it's cool.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And this is what I love. This is me. Take
yeah,
me for who I am. And
yeah,
so what if you think I'm weird or eccentric or different, or
mhm.
that's who I am.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it.
That's the beauty of us. And yeah,
Exactly.
we should be proud of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm very proud of this too. So,
Mm.
but yeah. Well, I think we've done an ace job.
Hey, very good. I love it. Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Liz. It's been great.
Absolutely, Sophie. It's been an absolute delight and an honor. So it's been awesome. And well, you're the first guest of the show and the absolute guest of honor of the entire show. So
Oh, thank you.
it's
Well,
it's been
onward and
lovely.
upward.
Absolutely. Here's to us.
Exactly.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for watching. And do be sure to join for my next guest as well, who I'm not telling you who it is yet, but I've got heaps and heaps of guests coming on. So be sure to continue watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye.